Hello, everyone. Welcome to LOCKBEARD Random Live number 64, Ukraine. It is Friday, February 25th, 2022. There's some big stuff going on. Ukraine is in a lot of trouble. Pretty much a full-scale invasion from Russia. So there's a lot of history there. There's issues, with, you know, there's just so many issues tied to this. There's a lot of Russians in the eastern part of Ukraine, and there's this whole idea that Russians need to be in Russia and that kind of stuff. The how they pronounce it, Donbass, or however they pronounce it, um, region there. There's it's not like everything's everybody's happy there. There's a couple of regions that have declared themselves, you know, sovereign nations, but they're not. At least they're not considered to be um, sovereign nations, but they want to be. And I guess Russia um, is not. That they have some support for them, but it's it's a mess. It's a mess. So I don't know what the point is in Russia recognizing those self-proclaimed states, um, if Russia just wants to absorb them. But that's what happened, and then Russia uh, invades, and so it's just strange. And then there's this whole thing where Russia has warned um, a couple nations. Was it Finland and Sweden? I think that if they joined NATO, that there would be consequences. It's so. What are we looking at? We're looking at the start a potential a big freaking war starting. Um, I don't know. Let me share. Let me put a map up of there's the Donbass region, and as you can see, here I need to show some other maps here. Like that's the eastern end of Ukraine. You see the Crimea region down there to the south, but that region there in Ukraine, as you can see, um, these are the two self-proclaimed nations or states. Those two words are interchangeable. This is one of those things I keep telling people in the United States. Your nation is not the United States of America. Your nation is the state you're in. Your state is a nation. My state of Oklahoma is a nation, part of a union. That's why they call it the State of the Union Address. That's why they called it the Union during the Civil War. It's a union, just like the European Union, really not that different in size to the European Union. It's a bunch of states, and they need to regain their sovereignty and their independence here in the United States. The federal government has amassed too much power, but that's a whole nother issue. It's a whole nother issue. So here's here's one of those parts of that region that's declared itself a state. The Donetsk People's Republic. And then hopefully that popped out all right. And here's the other one in that region, in Donbass region. It's called the Lugansk People's Republic. They want to be their own nations, and Russia saw that as a little bit of help to them to kind of justify their invasion into the Ukraine. I mean, they don't really need justification. They're just going to come, and that's just all there is to it. So, I mean, here you have the areas where the invasion started first in the eastern side there. It's hard to see the legend there, but on the eastern side of Ukraine, that was the first area they came into. Then the Russian Federation Council authorized Putin to continue. I guess he'd already started, but he continued. And you see all the areas, all those spots all around the nation, the Ukraine nation, where they bombard. I don't know if you can see it, the share screen, but let me see if I can zoom in on that. There we go. The air and ground bombardments, and you see the solid lines is the front lines at the start of the invasion, and then you have the current front lines, which are probably changing by the moment, obviously. So, but yeah, they started in those areas there where those two self-proclaimed nations were. They would have been a lot better off to, Russia's not going to give them their independence. They just got handed off from one nation to another more powerful nation. Lots of people are dying over this, and it's a mess. So the thing is there's an issue of timing here. It just seems awful convenient timing. State of the Union address here, the protest here. We need this distraction to happen now. We need to get people thinking more about helping some other nation in the world instead of thinking about rebelling against a corrupt United States federal government. Enter this distraction here. Now, it's more than a distraction. Russia did want that place back, but just can't help but feel that that the timing was sort of planned in collusion. I wish there was something that we could do, but the reality is, because there's some people that they're like, they don't want to. They think that we should be worried more about this than anything else because it's potentially the start of World War III. I don't know that that's the case. There's going to be you know, they're going to try and scare people with that idea, right? And you know, it can go a lot of different ways. But the reality is Russia's a nuclear power, the United States a nuclear power. If we engage, shit's gonna get real, right? It's gonna get real. And you know, even though I think the governments of the United States and Russia plan these little things to for both our peoples, right? To scare the crap out of both peoples, and you know, if you can't get them patriotic, you get them scared, right? And get them to fall in line. To get them to fall in, because here we are in America, and people are getting spooked. Oh my gosh, Russia! Oh, Russia really doesn't give a crap about the United States as long as we leave them alone. It isn't about that. It's about um, their own people. They have anti-war protests in Russia, and they're having mass arrest. You know, the people in Russia don't want this shit either. But this is all a big game. This is all a big game, and unfortunately, people's lives are on the line. These rich, powerful scumbags that control our governments, probably almost all the governments in the world, controlled by these rich, despicable scumbags, who will probably never pay for the evil that they have done. It's just it's crazy, and so like we need to be getting people um, um, get people, as many people who are capable as possible, standing up and resisting the federal government, our corrupt, evil federal government. And I'm not talking about a war. I'm talking about protesting. I'm talking about refusing to comply. Talking about everyone walk out of work. Stop it. Stop it. The truckers are doing it. Join them. You don't have to actually go to DC. Just stop complying and stop paying taxes. Stop working. If you're not working, you're not you know accruing income tax um, obligation. See, it's not that you're not paying the IRS. It's just that you're not earning income that they can tax. Now that's going to be hard for some people because you got to have your house and stuff like that. It's going to be hard. A lot of people can't do that, but some can. Hey, let's see what's going on in the chat. We got Donald. He says, "Hey, about getting ready to fire up the blower." Welcome to the chat, Cindy Finn. Welcome. I'm sure Europe is ready. Yeah, there could be a big blow up in Europe. Watch this, and if it does, I mean, watch it play out like pre World War II, right? There was a bunch of crap going on over there. The typical citizen here didn't want to get involved, and but the government did really, really badly. And then all of a sudden, how convenient that for some reason, one of Germany's allies decided it was a jolly good idea to hack off the United States by bombing Pearl Harbor. Do you think they just had a dumbass moment? Oh, yeah, let's drag some more people into this war to help our enemies. No, if you believe that, oh my God, no, they did it on purpose with the blessing of the United States federal government. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. That may be hard for some people to believe. How our government's not that evil? Yes, our government is that freaking evil. It's corrupted. It's been corrupted for a very long time. They orchestrate these wars. And so what happened? Pearl Harbor happened, and then suddenly a bunch of Americans who were against going to war with, it was Europe's war. Let them fight. they suddenly are like, oh crap, they're attacking us now. We better go do something. So watch it play out like that. Watch it play out. I mean, it may or may not. It just depends. I don't know exactly what their goals are. If they're just here to just make the threat, make it seem like there's a threat of World War III, or if they actually plan on having a World War III. Damn Straight says Cindy saw that too. Chessboard says, hello folks, Lockbeard, Cindy, Finn, Finn, Donald Fuller. Where's Mr. R2D2 or Lee3PO? I don't know. I'm sure he wandered in. Seemed like YouTube was very lazy about getting the notification out on this one. I mean, I just, like, there wasn't a lot of time, but still, come on, YouTube, it's 2022. You want me to believe that I was a couple minutes into this before you sent out the notification? You want me to believe that? Really? Bunch of bullshit. Cindy says CIA is well corrupt as F. Yep. Chessboard says Lockbeard, something I've known for years. When working, you're an asset. When retired, disabled, or unable to work, you're a liability. Yeah. Listen, the federal government. Listen, we just want to be free. Stop jacking with our liberty. Stop lying to. Look, we have an honest business relationship here. Stop trying to squeeze us for more taxes. Stop trying to force us to under more strict controls and more legislation. Look, Americans are we're liking this thing we got. It's just that you guys keep trying to take more. Is it that you just can't control your desire, your greed? It just you get this much and then you want more and more and more. I mean, what's your problem? Just leave us alone. Stop taxing the crap out of us. And we probably won't be raising so much of a ruckus. We'd be, we want to live and work and build businesses and have nice homes and cars and stuff. And what's the problem? What's going on here? It's almost like it isn't. The goal is actually that they're trying to, and I've kind of talked about this before, that they know that humans will fight war every so often anyway, so they're trying to control it, right? I just think they're doing it wrong. I think you kind of still have to let it happen, but when you orchestrate wars, don't fake wars. Like say, because this is one of the ideas behind the my micronation of the Eternus Empire, is that there would still, amongst the member nations, there would still be wars, but there would be rules. There's just some shit they can't do. If two nations have a beef, it's just like you got two, not to compare nations to children, but you got two boys in school. They get in a fight, and you say, okay, here's boxing gloves. There's the ring. Y'all have it out until you figure some shit out. Cindy says, that's okay. I answer to about I, C, A, C, and F. That's okay. I answered to about I, C, A, C, and F. I cannot decipher. I cannot decipher that. Exactly. It has something to do with him misspelling your name, I think. But Donald says, "Oh, okay, I got to get outside before the temps drop off." All right, man. We'll see you later. Good night. Bye, folks. Your name. So, about a week ago, y'all heard me mention Ken Wheeler every so often. You know, he has there's certain subject areas he's very knowledgeable about, and Russia, the way things are over there, because he lived there for so long. He speaks Russian. He's visited Ukraine a number of times. So anyway, before this invasion happened, here's a video he posted about a week ago. You know, because the troops were amassing, I think, already and all that stuff. But I'll play a segment anyway of this video.
People were saying in the comments, and I also posted information on Instagram, and people said, what, is Russia going to invade you? Russia's never going to invade Ukraine. There was an enormous amount of comments like that. And to those people, I say, Russia has already invaded Ukraine in 2014. They took Crimea. Yeah. And I know that, the eastern part of Ukraine are ethnic Russians. Yeah. This is the case. I mean, the Russians and the Ukrainians wanted to go back and forth with, to me, about this fact on Crimea. But all those people that said Russia is never going to invade Ukraine, please let me remind you that Russia already invaded Ukraine in 2014. And I don't take a position on this, okay? So don't accuse me of anything. You could say all the bad things you want about me, but don't accuse me of saying things that I never said or implied. That always, I guess, me. So yeah, Russia already invaded Ukraine. That was 2014. Here's what's happened in the past 48 hours. Whether you believe this or not, I really don't care. I mean, it's factual. There's over 7,000 more troops that have come in. Now, instead of 130,000 troops, there are 150,000 plus troops just in the past couple days. And there's satellite imagery of this. You can look it up. Just type in Russian, Ukrainian. It's actually in Belarusia. They did a military. It's like an origami. It's a bridge building device thing. It's hauled behind trucks in a huge military truck vehicle. Kind of unfolds. Actually, comes in sections. Some of them, the shorter ones, unfold. This one I know is so huge that it's in sections. You can see it's a huge section, and then it kind of comes together like Legos. So Russia built from Belarusia into Ukraine, this military bridge as a entry point. There are many, many entry points because right now Russian troops and military vehicles and tanks, yada, yada, are on three fronts with Ukraine, Belarusia, Russia, and Crimea, or Crimea in English. So there's that new military bridge and 7,000 more troops, bringing the total up to 150,000. So here's something else that's really important. And I actually figured something like this would happen. I don't know if it'll be the impetus for it, but since a significant portion of eastern Ukraine are ethnic Russians, and there's video of this, and the Ukrainians know about it, and they're really pissed about it, is that Russian-backed separatists, in other words, Russians living in Ukraine, they shelled that part of Ukraine. One of them was also to a kindergarten, and the kindergartners weren't there at the time. And this is only a speculation on my part based upon this. Okay, so I'm not saying this is true or not, but the fact that Russian-backed separatists are shelling Ukraine, they're in Ukraine and they're shelling Ukraine, that any action, pure speculation on my part, okay, any action from Ukraine upon the Ukrainian-based Russian-backed separatists would give impetus for Russia to say, hey, you're attacking or going after Russians, and that gives impetus for Russia to roll. I mean, if you're looking for an excuse, that would be a great impetus for Russia to roll hard into that Ukrainian retaliation against those separatists would be significant. So 7,000 more troops, up to 150,000. That's in the past 48 hours. Of course, who knows if it's probably been a week. They've been rolling in there on truck. I don't know how long it took them, but 7,000 more troops have landed on the front in Belarusia, Russia, and I don't know how many more in Crimea. And that nice new military bridge in Belarusia feeding its way directly. It's already landed on, on the other side of the river in Ukraine. So please stop saying I support one country over the other or that I want this guy. I've never said that. I've never implied that. So I don't know where people will, you'll talk about A and then they'll accuse you of talking about Z. I guess that's an inherent defect of social media, obviously. So.
Well, is the sound working all right? By the way, I know that in the past, like, because I didn't mute myself this time, but for some reason there's been problems with the sound if I didn't mute myself in the past. But anyway, this is about a week ago. Ken's. He said he has friends in Russia and Ukraine. He cares about both peoples. He doesn't blame the peoples of either country. He knows this is government's bullshit. Anyway, he's been trying to tell people, so look, Russia's going to do this at some point, and people will argue with him and say no. And I don't know how anyone could argue with him. If you know squat about what's going on over there, you know that sooner or later Russia's going to try and find a way to bring Ukraine back under their, back into that former union, right? So that was about a week ago, and it's like people are still arguing, even though there's all these troops and the bridge he was talking about, and you got Russians in Ukraine, being they're aggressive. They they want to separate their portion, and you got these two declared, these two smaller states that have declared themselves sovereign, even though they're still part of the Ukraine. So that was about a week ago, and then here is Ken. That was this yesterday, I think.
It's Ukrainians on a very tiny island called Snake Island, and a Russian boat pulled up. Of course, Ukraine has been completely invaded. They're in full all-out war in Ukraine, and the Russian boat told the people on Snake Island to surrender, and the Ukrainians on that island, I don't know the exact words that they said to the Russians on the boat, but they said something like "Nahuy blyat" or "Yob tvayu." I don't want to translate that from Russian into English. They're not good words. And the Russians opened fire on them and killed everybody on the island. Here's what's going to happen before getting into what's happened just the past 24 hours. 100% unquestionable, undeniable. Russia is going to absolutely, completely decapitate the entire current government of Ukraine. Current president of Ukraine has said, these are his words, that hit squads are already out searching for him. All of Kiev has been completely encircled, and Kiev is going to be completely cut off within 48 hours or less. The entire country, this is my conclusion, the entire country should essentially, not that there wouldn't be pockets of resistance here, there obviously so, the entire country of Ukraine should fall to Russian forces within about a week, if not less, actually. Currently, there's over 140 Ukrainians dead. From all accounts, and this is completely unknown, there are more than that of Russian soldiers dead. I've looked at so many countless videos, like individual videos made by individuals, not from news media companies. They're either in Ukrainian or in Russian. Oddly enough, most of the videos, it's almost humorous, but it's not humorous, it's horrible. And a great number of these videos have something to the effect of, "Вот это пиздец, смотри на это пиздец." I don't want to translate that word, it's also too, and it's the English equivalent is like, "What the bleep?" it actually means something a lot deeper than that. It's untranslatable. Like, oh yeah, what's up? Just cruise missiles. Hundreds of cruise missiles have come in from Russia. I'm not taking any sides on this, by the way. I'm not interested in. I got Russian friends, Ukrainian friends. I get along great with both of them. Russians generally love me. I get along great with Russians, by the way. I lived in Russia for quite a long time. I've been to Ukraine several times. The only thing actually shocking to me about all of this, and I'm talking about the internet, not your comments, although there were a lot of your folks' comments the same. On the internet, it's like, why is Putin doing this? Why? I know exactly why he's doing it. Ukraine to Russia is, they're missing leg. Actually, it's like they're missing both their legs. I mean, they want it back. They've wanted it back ever since the fall of the Soviet Union. A lot of people are blaming this on NATO, and NATO actually does not have that much to do with it. You could disagree with me all you want, but you'd be wrong. Russia, I knew, hell or high water, Russia was going to get Ukraine back. I knew it. A whole lot more people are going to die before this is over. How do I know that? I mean, is that pure speculation? No, it's not, because their Ukrainians themselves said that they would fight tooth and nail. Ukraine is actually passing out weapons to all Ukrainian veterans. There's been a new order as of just a few hours ago from the president of Ukraine that no man from like age 16 to 64 is allowed to flee, head to the countryside or try to. A lot of Ukrainians are fleeing, trying to, but the Poland's not letting them in. Not allowed to flee. They're supposed to stay and fight. There have been tons of airstrikes by Russia in the first few hours, which I knew is exactly what happened. There have been dozens and dozens of tanks destroyed, by all accounts, by the Javelin rockets that the United States gave Ukraine. Mini choppers have been taken down from Stinger missiles. Also, at least 2 fighter aircraft, if not more, from Stingers, which of course we also gave Ukraine. The roads are clogged. There's countless video evidences of this from countless sources where people are fleeing to the countryside. Also, to the border of Poland, mostly Poland, but they're not being let in from all accounts. Many thousands of Ukrainians are hiding for safety in the very, very deep subways of Kyiv. Ukraine is captured, and there are many photographic evidences of this, many dozens, if not more, Russian soldiers. This is only the first day. It's going to get a whole lot more hot and a whole lot more kinetic. It's undeniably 100%. The capital Kyiv is essentially nearly entirely surrounded. The capital will fall within 48 hours or less. It could be off by a dozen or so hours. The entire country of Ukraine will fall essentially within a week, and 100%, 1,000% undeniability. Russia is going to be completely and utterly decapitating the entire government of Ukraine. No ifs, ands, or buts, flat out, period. Absolutno. It's terrible. All these, people are dying.
Yeah. So that's what's anyway. Hopefully, because a lot of times people will, deny what someone has said that actually kind of knows what they're talking about. And then they won't come back later, and it's almost like they just kind of forget, that they're not going to come, but they're not going to come back and tell us, look, sorry, we were wrong, you were right. So are those people just straight up trolls? I don't know. I don't know how anyone didn't think. I mean, especially after Crimea. I mean, seriously, how can you have any doubt that sooner or later Russia was going to do this for Russia's own reasons? I'm just saying though that the timing, NATO and Biden's bullshit, and all that helped set things up, but it was just a matter of time. It's just, when was that time going to be? And time just happens to be right now, when Americans may be about to engage in the greatest mass protest in our history. And so we need to be distracted. So the media is going to be focusing on Ukraine, and then there's going to be all this fear mongering, like, we're going to get in World War III, blah blah blah. Look, no, we're not going to get in World War III. I mean, we might, but I'm not saying we absolutely won't. It's hard to say where these yahoos that control the damn world are going to go with their bullshit plans. But all we got to do is say, look, we will give political asylum to the members of the government from Ukraine, um, if they agree to just to surrender, surrender the nation to Russia, and Russia agrees to let those political um, the members of the government of the Ukraine come to the United States safely, and end the fighting, end the killing. Um, unless the Ukraine wants to try and fight this out, I don't. There's a slight possibility they could drive Russia out, but we do not have to get involved in this. We don't. Um, but with Russia issuing that warning to, I think it was Finland and Sweden, I think. Anyway, that just tells me no, they're planning on something pretty big, or at least just trying to be scary. Something ain't right over there. But it sounds like the Ukrainians are putting up a pretty good fight. But who knows? Who knows how it's going to turn out? Let me see what the chat's got going on over here. Donald took off. Um, chessboard don't have a lighted keyboard. Chrissy says, "What I've been preaching." Yeah. Welcome to the chat, Chrissy. Happened everywhere. Daily Dance here says, "Good stuff." Who is this guy? This is Ken Wheeler. He's a person that I mention quite often. Usually when about the field theory and metaphysics. So this guy, um, um, he's the only person I know that's prolifically putting information, like he's trying to teach people how the universe really works and how what you call the spiritual world, or whatever you want to call it, how it actually works, the actual explanation. Because you could be a paranormal investigator and all that stuff, and you might come up with little bits of evidence here and there, and there is evidence that spiritual entities exist, right? But what is the actual science, the metaphysical science of it? This man explains it on his channel, and how people got too much separation about this world, the psychophysical world, and the metaphysical world. And he usually uses a coin analogy. So yeah, that side of the coin's the physical world, the psychophysical world. The other side is the metaphysical world, but there's just one coin. They're all the same. It's all one. That's why he calls himself a monist. All is one. All is one thing. It's all based on very basic and really pretty simple scientific principles. But people they've been brainwashed for so long with Einstein bullshit, quantum physics bullshit. If you take, because most people they see you see Stephen Hawking on a documentary, and he's blatting out all this crap, and they really don't have any idea what in the hell he's talking about. And the reality is neither does he or any of the other quantum, because they still latched on to these ridiculous interpretations of the data. If a person really takes the time to just like pick one small thing and just examine it closely, use logic, you will see that they have made some pretty big mistakes. But there's egos involved. Like some of these guys are going to have to admit they're wrong, and they're not going to do it. They've made a lot of money off of what they've this quantum religion that they've developed. Every so often they'll come up with some experimental results that's a little weird, and then they'll have to bend over backwards to make it fit their models. And and it just goes on and on and on, and they're like, they're trying to achieve grand unification, right? But they can't achieve grand unification. Why? Is because they've created these puzzle pieces that don't fit together. They're wrong. The puzzle pieces are wrong. Misinterpretations of perfectly good observations in most cases. I'm sure a lot of this is just anyway. Ken Whaler, he's he's a pretty good source of information if you can go down that rabbit hole and are ready to tackle something like that. Um, it's not for everybody. He's got thousands of videos on his channel. Uh, you kind of, if you're looking at metaphysics, you're going to have to sort out around the photography stuff and other subject matter. He does Buddhism. He talks about ancient Buddhism. He knows a bunch of languages. He's translated ancient text. He has a lot more insight into some of these subjects than pretty much anyone on the planet. Um, and it just so happens that Russia is a place he knows quite a bit about because he spent a lot of time there. He so anyway. So I don't know. His channel is called Theoria Apophysis, and that's a place you want to go if you want to understand. I mean, if you want to try and understand how the universe actually works, and how there's no need for grand unification because it's all already one. There's no need to, because there's no need to try and put it all together and make it fit and try to create all this elaborate math and somehow figure out, no, oh, we got to discover a new particle to explain this part because it's still not working over here with a particle collider, and got some people spooked because they think you're going to accidentally create a black hole and destroy the whole freaking world. No, those people aren't going to destroy shit. All they're doing is wasting billions of dollars and a whole lot of time. That's what they're doing, because they're not smashing particles together. There are no damn particles. Well, nothing smaller than a proton. But these guys are convinced that there is, so they keep trying to discover these particles that don't exist, and there's something going on there, but it's not a particle. I mean, obviously there's something going on, like with an electron, right? There's obviously something happening, but see, there's a reason why. It's like we can't seem to put a finger on this damn thing. It's here and then it's there, and it's because you're trying to act like it's like a physical object. Oh my god, it's dude, because you're talking about guys that are pretty much refuse to believe in the metaphysical. They don't believe that there's what you call spiritual, many of you would call spiritual. They refuse to believe in it, even though plenty of scientific evidence indicates it's there. It's just these guys are trying to figure out, well, this is just a scientific principle we don't understand. There's got to be some strange particle involved or some bullshit. Anyway, Ken explains all. If all those pricks would just tune in to Ken and read his articles and his book, The Missing Secrets of Magnetism and all that stuff, but see, nobody. I swear, 99% of the people that do encounter his stuff are not. They're coming in there and they want to keep trying to put their own. They're like, well, they think they're smarter than Ken. I guarantee you they're not. I guarantee you they're not. Like and not just the regular quantum physics cult members, but like flat Earth cult members show up and shit like that. The mud fossil people show up. Usually it's flat Earth though, and they're like they think they're going to teach Ken something about the Earth is flat, and Ken he tries to stay out of it, but they just keep coming. The onslaught in every live stream of flat earthers over and over again. They think because because of the way he explains gravity, right? Um, incoherent magnetism, um, pretty much says it. Well, in flat Earth, for a lot of flat earthers, that's how they explain gravity. Except it's just like I guess an easy explanation for them because somehow they got to explain why shit falls, right? There's got to be some reason why shit falls. It just so happens that gravity truly is, magnetism, but it's incoherent magnetism. That doesn't mean the Earth is flat, dipshits. I'm sorry. It's just every time I go in his chat and all these assholes, I'm like, seriously, can we just? Because you got a lot of people in there with good, serious questions, and the chat is just so full and just flying by, and Ken is having to stop every so often. He's because he stops and he has to skip over a lot because he can't read it all. It's flying too fast, so he just has to pick one out every so often. And all these flat earthers are in there just causing this flood, and it's a pain in the ass is what it is, and that's all flat earthers are. Okay, you guys that are flat earth, I'm sorry, you're not enlightened. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about, and all you are is a waste of everyone's time. So if it makes you mad, too bad. The fact is you don't know what the hell you're talking about, and you're wasting everyone's time. Every time you show up, we just wasted time talking about you. Damn it! So we're gonna stop. But let's see, chat. Dan said sounds good. Good. To me, whenever Cindy says to me, wherever for me, it's not the people, it's the government. Yeah. Yeah. Chessboard says, Lockbeard, I read today now they are using the space station as a pawn. Oh, it was just a matter of time, man. Sydney says, I'm going to Joe's at 6 p.m. Joe, he's gone to a bi-weekly schedule. You're talking about Western New York Bigfoot Investigation Group. He's gone to a bi-weekly schedule, so he will not be on tonight because he was on Tuesday this week. So he does the Tuesday show one week, and then the next week he does the Friday show, unless he's changed it back. I don't know if he's changed. I haven't heard anything about him changing it back. I can certainly. I'm going to go check just to make sure because it is 6 p.m. And let me see here. Just a second. Yeah. Holy shit, he is live. Oh, man. Okay. So, we'll just stay on for another 10 minutes or so, and then we'll go ahead and make this a short random live, and we will. I'll go over there to Joe's with you. I'll probably start at the beginning and watch it on double speed until I catch up. It'll take about 10-15 minutes for me to get caught up to live, but that's what I'll probably do. So we'll go for another 10 minutes or so, and then cut out since Joe's coming on. I didn't think he was doing 2 shows a week anymore. Mr. Hughes said, "Hi, Lockbeard. Hello, welcome to the chat." And he says, "Wow, I will have to look at his channel." Yeah, look, it's gonna take some time. Because look, I had, because I was, way, I'm a big time into all kinds of sciences, and so trying to understand sciences, and especially when it comes to like science fiction, I'm into science fiction, the actual construction of the science fiction story, or just story in general. But and I one of my critiques of sci-fi is typically how's the scientific plausibility, right? Could this legitimately happen in reality? And unfortunately, there's these issues I was seeing with real science. I'm like, well, how can I say anything about the plausibility of this story if the plausibility of the actual science is in question when you look at some of these issues in the real scientific realm? And so anyway, so there was years I was trying to, because you see something like the electric universe, and it seems like they're trying to address some of the issues there, but electric universe doesn't. No, 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 no. This, hold on a second. Here, not an electric universe, not a flat earther. Um, you know, that's where you need to go. You know, to try and understand it. You're gonna have to watch a lot of videos, read some of his articles. Um, some of the stuff is going to be hard. Like, you're going to have to probably stop and look some words up and try to, like, really try to wrap your mind around the meaning of that word. Um, and maybe in time and you're also having to deconstruct some programming, right? You've been programmed with ideas like space time. You've been watching sci-fi for many years, and it's just theoretical crap, and there space is not a thing, and time is not a thing, but what mainstream science is like stuck these two things together and saying there's this fabric of space time, because they're having a hard time making, understanding the data they have. Anyway, if you throw out space time and just say, look, there is a substrate upon which the universe is built, but it's not made of space and time. It's the ancients knew about this, because everyone thinks that ancient people were all stupid. No, you go far enough back, you have a major worldwide civilization that apparently was very technically advanced, in ways we may never understand. And there's this thing they talk about, the ether, the ether. And everything exists in that. Space time is just a crap crap understanding of things that they're trying to and a lot of these scientists, they've heard of the ether. They're just not willing to admit that they kind of missed it. Which, of course, look, if you have a painting, if you're a character in a painting, right, you're someone that's been painted, you're aware and you're aware of your world in that painting, right? There's a tree over here, and there's a dog, and there's a building. You're aware of that world, but you're not aware of the canvas. It's not part of your world. At least you don't know. The reality is your entire world is painted upon that canvas, and that is the ether. You take away the canvas, your world's gone. Poof. There's nothing for the paint to stick to. That's probably a jacked up analogy, but Cindy says, "Oh God, quantum physics is ridiculous." Yes, yes. And I've railed about this stuff before. The double slit experiment. Jesus, it's like, did we just decide to throw science? Look, if you conduct an experiment, you made an educational guess. It's either this thing or that thing, and then you conduct the experiment, and it turns out, depending on the conditions, it behaves as this one or this one. Well, it has to be one or the other. What they did is just threw their hands up in there and said, "Well, it must be both." Instead of going back to the drawing board and saying, "Okay, look, apparently we're not smart enough to make the appropriate educational guess as to what this thing actually is." See, they had to come up with answers. They couldn't stand, there's no way they can't admit that they didn't find an answer, I guess, or an appropriate answer. So they just come up with some bullshit, I guess. I don't know. They should just say, "I don't know," is what they should say. We need to go back to the drawing board. Maybe we keep performing experiments, and maybe somewhere along the line we'll figure out what that third option is. But they didn't do that because they wanted to act like they knew what the hell they were doing, and they really didn't. Chessboard says Cindy Fan Ken has studied old ancient scripts by Plato, etc., and into magnetics. Yes, Cindy Fan says a lot of religions use mystical. Yeah, and the problem is, so what I'm talking about here, it's the atheists don't like it, and the religious people don't like it, because I'm basically saying that that there's a scientific explanation for it all. There's no magic, not really. I mean, you can call something magic, but that word has such implications. There's no magical. I mean, there's the spiritual realm exists. The atheists are like, bullshit. No, dude, we got proof that there's plenty of scientific proof for that. Ken explains it if the atheists would just go and listen. The problem is atheists, a lot of them just, they're practically trolls, and a lot of them are cultists, really. They just want to be angry, and they want to attack religious people because they feel slighted by religious people, and religious people have slighted them in some ways, whether they realize it or not. They're just doing they're just doing them, and you're doing you, and just you button heads, and that's just the nature of the beast. So I'll have atheists that tell me, "You're not an atheist," and religious people will say, "Well, I'm not one of their kind of religion," and I'm like, "Look, both of you are not considering that the answer's somewhere in between y'all, and it's maybe not something you even remotely know exists or considered." I hate to call myself a monist like Ken does, because that sounds like a religion, right? It's all is one, and to understand that fully, you really need to go to Ken's channel, because we do not have time. He spent dozens and dozens and dozens of videos talking about that. He's got articles about it, and but it really comes down to you need to understand how the universe actually functions. He explains that. I'll let him. That's his work. That's his passion, is teaching that. So I'll let you go to him for all that. It is not my passion necessarily, other than I'm hacked off that I was lied to, and that I didn't have a proper understanding of how the universe worked until much later in life than I should have. It should have been taught to me in school. and it was not. I was taught some really some a lot of hack science. Some of the science was good, but some of it was just absolute crap. Um, so there is an in between answer, because I mean, if you accept the spiritual, but it's a scientifically explainable concept and part of reality, it's the part we're not meant to see most of the time, and anyway, there's so much, there's just too much to discuss. We need to wrap her up, um, because I don't want to live stream when Joe's on. I want to go over there, and we pretty much said what we need to say here. Cindy says I couldn't think of the word. Chessboard says scripts was the wrong word on my part. Ancient writings may be better wording. Yeah. Cindy Fan says, sorry, my brain is off today. My grandkids' dad took off with them from Texas to California without my daughter's permission. Oh, shoot, man. I will check with him. I'll check him out. Gravity is mofo. Um, hell no. He has 25. Yes, he will be on tonight, says Brandy. Yeah, I thought he was only doing one a week, but I guess he's doing two this week. Brandy, thanks for the quick. He says chessboard. Brandy says hi, bye, going to Joe. We'll see you in a little bit. Rusty's here. Welcome. We were getting ready to wrap her up, man. Sorry. Rusty says, howdy, everybody in Lockbeard. Hello, Rusty. So, I don't know. I don't know if I want to do any more on. We'll probably talk about Ukraine again, because this shit's, unfolding. Cindy says, oh, definitely. My schooling is 60s and 70s. Chessboard says, hello, Rusties. Profoundly so. They should say inclusive. I feel like a bobblehead. Quotes I live by Socrates. The only thing I know is that I know nothing. To Chessboard says from Socrates. Yeah. Cindy Finn says I'm going over to Joe's. Okay, we'll be over there in a little bit. Chessboard says later, Lockbeard. Thanks, and I'll take care. So okay, let me see here. Looks like I'm down to just we've cleared out. So thank you all who came, and I will see you next time. Probably tomorrow I'll be doing another 4-hour multi-stream in regards to the People's Convoy specifically for now, and then if there's a different name for the overall protest going forward, maybe we'll cover it in a more broad sense, but I'm following the People's Convoy specifically for now, and we'll just hang out. Guys can talk and chat and monitor the convoy situation. So thank you all, and I'll see you next time.